And you got to pause everything.
As we all know, I am shooting off to go see my Dale very, very shortly, and I can't wait. So I've been doing some landscaping, and I'm not talking about gardening. I am talking about Bare Nuts hair removal cream for men. Proudly, Australia's nut care is taking down under grooming to the modern day man. Recently voted #1 by Men's Health magazine with Bare Nuts pubic hair removal cream. Nut care is revolutionizing male grooming. Have some of this with the comfy nuts, no rubbing, nothing better. So use the code AnyGivenSunday at the checkout. You get 10% off your first purchase. Nut Care, essential grooming for men.
Brown 45! Brown 45! Hot, 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 hot!
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to Any Given Sunday Australia, the #1 podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, up in Winnipeg. Danny, who do we speak with? Over in Miami. We're pretty huge now. So the podcast where the sports people go to be cool and the cool people go to be sporty. That's what I've been told lately, and that's what we're going to run with. Joining us, thanks, Cardi. Great look. Joining us, as always, in his basement that we don't know where it is our ever-reliable TC24 at Tim Cardi, AGSAU. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I think the quote's good. I think you just butchered it. I think.
Okay, fair enough. Next week.
Oh, no, I'm good, mate. I'm very good. Very happy to see your face. That's for sure.
We'll get into the reasons for that later.
Yeah,
much later, hopefully. Also joining us is our work experience kid turned pro into year 2 at Danny Webb, AGSAU. How are you, mate? I'm
great, except for as soon as I did my ad read, had some severe technical difficulties, but I think I'm back on track. So we'll see how this goes.
I'm glad because both of you gave a bit of funny looks, which gave me real weird. Or maybe am I muted? Or can you not hear me? What the hell's going on? But
I think that's just normal.
Yeah, pretty standard operations. Now, I do have a few things, a bit of housekeeping to speak about, but I'm going to get into it straight away. Knock it on the head. Literally knock it on the head. We've got the Raiders, and I've got to give a big go Raiders because my boys lost. So
and we had, for anyone playing at home wondering why, we had a little side bet. We were texting yesterday in the group. I think the game had just started. And
we kicked 3 points. We hit the scoreboard, and I was like,
you up and down. You get on the board first, and he's like, "What do you think? We put a little bet on." And I was like, "Let's do it, mate." And this is your payment. So it's good. It's got to stay on for the whole epi.
Yeah, it feels weird, but
I'll wear it. Looks all right.
Yeah, it's a nice hat. I like it. All right. So the housekeeping, our Game Pass. It's still going forward with the free trial. So you get a week trial. You got up to the 14th. So you've still got a few more days to try it out for the entire week for free. If you don't like it, you can scrap it. If you do, you stay on, and you just make sure you use our link. You can find it in our link tree, which is now everywhere. But yeah, that's important. Also, we had an interview that went out yesterday. Last week, you and I, Dan, Fraser Mazin. I'll say it the right way. He was an absolute legend out of Ole Miss.
Every time.
What are your thoughts, mate? He was a superstar.
Oh, absolute legend. Such a humble bloke as well. He was thanking us for having him on as if he wasn't a starting punter for a really successful college. He was such a humble lad, and it was really, really good just to speak to him, speak about his journey and how he got there and his plans for the future. Definitely worth having a listen.
Yeah, and this week it's come out that he's on the watch list for the Ray Guy Award. So, like you said, extremely humble, thinking the fact that he was thanking us for looking out for him. Yes. Have you had a chance to watch it yet, Cards, or read about it or listen to it?
No, I've had a little squizzy, but I haven't had the chance to watch the full epi yet.
No, fair enough. That is pretty much it. So we've got a little bit of, we'll let everyone know, we've got a little bit of a change up in our plans. We're going back to attempting the 2 times a week. So we're going to have a review, which will be today's episode, and then a preview later on during the week. Cardi, you were the main reason behind this. What's your thoughts, mate?
No, I just think if we stay to a shorter format, if we keep our time tight, We want to try and hit that maybe 40 to 45 minutes. It's a bit more user friendly and it's a bit more appealing, I think, for the listeners. You're not doing the hour 15 slog, which, you know, it has its place sometimes when we have on special guests like Charlie and things like that. But I think if we try and keep our midweek eps, like, you know, nice and tight, 40, 45 minutes, you know, hopefully that's a bit more friendly and a bit more palatable for the listeners. So, yeah, let us know if you like the change or if you like the longer format. We're welcome and open to all feedback. So, yeah, let us know what you're feeling.
All feedback unless it's coming from Jets fans, because that's still I'm still not me.
Yeah. We're also going back to an old favourite of being live, Carts. Are you?
Yeah. I'm just currently chatting to myself in the YouTube comments. There's no one else in there, so that's great.
We are at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday.
I think our preview eps will be a little bit more viewer friendly too. We'll try and get them maybe of a nighttime time slot in Australia, so we'll get a bit more interaction maybe on those preview ones. But yeah, just getting it live. So if you happen to be free during the day when we're doing it, jump on. We'll talk some shit in the chat, and we'll go from there.
Beautiful. All right, let's crack on because there's a few things that we got to get into, but
keep it tight.
Thank you for calling Dr. Danny's office.
And Dr. Danny, your office as always is brought to us by our friends C2C Rare Threads, 10% off with the Any Given Sunday code. What happened this week, mate? There was a few pretty big injuries.
Oh, a few massive ones. A few people ended up on IR, which is going to get a lot of fantasy owners upset, a lot of fans upset. But it was just a bit of a rough week. I'm going to start with Anthony Richardson, the QB from the Colts. He went down with a grade 3 AC joint sprain, which has now been confirmed by the MRI, which has only come out, I think, this morning. It means he's going to miss at least a month. It's not confirmed exactly his time frame, but they're thinking at least a month. And he hasn't been put on IR yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. So it means more Minshew mania coming ahead, which is great. Like, honestly, that's got to be the best signing the Colts did, because he has gone down a couple of times, and every time Minshew stepped up, he's absolutely dominated, and they had another win this week. Moving on to Daniel Jones, the QB from New York. He got sacked 16 times in the past 2 weeks, so it's no surprise that he's picked up an injury. This is a neck injury. He had an MRI, but Daboll is optimistic that he will play on Sunday. James Conner, the running back from the Cardinals, he's been placed on IR and will miss 4 weeks due to a knee injury. Despite he actually did it in the loss against the Bengals and returned during the game, and now he's been placed on IR. So I don't know if as he was playing, he aggravated it more. Then we move on to the Bears. The Bears did win their first game of the season, but it did come at the cost of all their running backs. So Herbert and Johnson both went down. Herbert with a high ankle sprain, so he's probably going to go on IR, and Johnson just had a concussion. They ended up running the rest of the game with their fullback. Justin Jefferson, this one hurts, not only Minnesota, but all you fantasy lovers out there.
Lots of fantasy teams have got JJ in there.
Oh, and I am one of them, so this sucks. So he did his hamstring in the 4th and didn't return. It's really bad news for the Vikings because they've just fallen to 1-4. And they'll having a comeback run against the Chiefs, which I'll touch on a little bit later. The severity is not confirmed for the hamstring injury, but he has been placed on IR, so he has to miss minimum 4 weeks. Tank Dell, the wide receiver from Houston, he's got a concussion and will likely miss week 6. Zay Jones, the wide receiver from the Jags, he returned this week after a knee injury, re-injured his knee during the game, so he's out, not likely to return for week 6. Kelsey, he went down with a low ankle sprain in that same game against the Vikings. Went and got x-rays, got to confirm there was no break. So what does he do? Comes back, scores a touchdown. The Chiefs face the Broncos next week, which we will preview at the end of this episode. But Kelsey could likely sit out for that game because it is a shorter week, and the game they're thinking the Chiefs has probably got that one locked up. Matt Milano for the linebacker for the Bills, he had fractured his leg. I don't know if you lads saw that. He was getting tackled. His knee got caught underneath and it kind of like twisted and ended up popping and actually fracturing his leg. So he's expected to miss the remainder of the season. Bills are losing defensive weapons like no tomorrow, so it's not looking great for them. Emmanuel Mosley, the cornerback from the Lions, poor fella, cannot catch a break. He has just made his 2023 debut after recovering from an ACL that he tore last season. So what did he go and done? First game back, tore the same ACL. He gone for the season.
We hate hearing that.
That is super sad. But yeah, they're the main ones for the week. There was a few other minor ones, but they're definitely the big ones.
Another knee brazy car. It's the same. He's actually just walked out the door and walked back in.
It was like he got stuck in the rotating door, and he just had a
revolving door.
Revolving door. Poor bastard.
That is shit house. But there is some big fantasy ones in there too. You know, JJ was one of my first picks, and now he's gone. And I've got bloody 4 weeks. I'm going to go to shit, but that's all right. I'll. Anyone looking to trade? Actually, Danny, you said you want JJ, so you can have him. So with our slightly different format, we're going to go through. I'm actually going to go through all of the week's scores just quickly. If you boys have any comments on any of the games that went by, feel free to jump in at the end. And then we'll still have our 3 reviews that we're going to pick. So, like Danny said, the Bears had their first win 40-20 over the Commanders. Jags got a good win over the Bills over in London, 25-20. Falcons got up 21-19 over the Texans. Lions just keep rolling on, 42-24 over the Panthers. Colts 23-16 over the Titans. Giants went down 16-31 over the Dolphins. They kind of keep rolling now. I'm going to talk about Saints Patriots, so we won't worry about that one. Ravens went down 10-17 in a lackluster game against the Steelers. A very defense-heavy but great win by the Steelers. Bengals finally got their second win, 34-20 over the Cards. Your boys, Eagles, if you saw our socials, you'll know that the Eagles were 5-0 because Danny was absolutely spruiking it, 23-14 over the Rams. Jets 31-21 over the Broncos. And Chiefs 27-20 over the Vikings. The other 3 games us boys are going to go through.
So just on that, with some of those games that you mentioned, the Bengals, obviously that was a massive win. Joe Burrow is back looking healthy. He had a good rush. I can't remember. I think it was halfway through the third, but, rush for the first down, like really proving that calf is back to how it should be. But more importantly, Chase had caught 3 touchdowns. One was an absolute bomb, like 76 yards or something like that. Incredible. And he also broke the Bengals record for most receptions. I think he had roughly around 16. So just a really good coming out game for him.
Yeah, and just gelling together again. Like they've been off all season, but just getting that, continuity again back. So, Carts, there was a couple of things you wanted to speak about before we got into our 3 games.
Yeah, just quickly, the Jags, obviously back-to-back weeks in London, making that a little home away from home over there. And the Bills, I think, they only travelled over on the Friday. So, like, a lot of teams looking at how to get that balance of right of, like, when do we get over and how do we settle? And the Jags, obviously, staying over for the 2 weeks. That paid dividends, making them, like, adjusted and feeling cherry ripe. And they come away with the win. But also, Breece Hall for the Jets, he's off his, pitch count or carry count or whatever it was. He's rushed for 177 yards, balled out big time there for the Jets. So that's huge, being able to get their running game going to obviously help out Zach Wilson there. And what else were we going to talk about? No, I think that was it from me.
Before we do get into our games, you had the tipping you were going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, the tipping. Obviously our AGS tipping comp ticking along nicely. Harrow in the lead. He's tipped 9 this week. He's sitting on 50 in the lead, tied up with Lovey, my mate Tyler, both sitting on 50. I've had a barnstorming week, tipped 10, jumped up like 6 spots or something like that. TMac, shout out. He was spruiking all week. He's like, when's me shout out? I'm sitting, second, third. He's dropped down to 12th. So there you go, Wiz.
There's your shout out.
Yeah. But it's pretty tight from first Harrow on 50 down to Doma last on 40, who I saw he didn't put in his tips this week, so that's hurt him probably a little bit, but it's still tight, and like you can most certainly come back at any point from here. So tipping comp ticking along nicely there.
Nice. We are only just over a quarter of the way through the season, so
mate, it can claw that back easily. That's
even those of us who are down on 43, just down the bottom, they can come back.
So I should mention, TMac, you are sitting 20th out of 22. So
I'm back.
Yeah, you're battling. Danny boy, you're going okay. You're
Oh, look at the cheesy grin. Yeah,
11th. You're 11th. You're 11th. So you're mid-pack on 47. So only 3 behind the leader. Like, mate, that's
I'm absolutely yo-yoing up and down. Like 2 weeks ago, I was leading, then forgot to put my tips in at the start of the week, so that hurt. And then even throughout this weekend, I think I popped up to 3rd, then back down to 11th. Which is
as the moment plays out. So keep an eye on that. Don't forget to put your tips in, lads.
Yeah, there's a lot of Max rambling about, I forgot my tips. Oh,
and then toys out of the cot, just stop playing. No, keep going. You can.
No, there is a long way to go. But all right, so the reviews that we're going through, I'm going to go first. I'm picking the New Orleans Saints versus the Patriots. I think there was a few storylines that come out of this one. The Saints ended a 2-game losing streak, moving on to 3-2, while the Pats are now 1-4. The Saints are up 21-0 at halftime, and the game was, for those who saw it, pretty much over. 27-yard pick to Tyrann Mathieu, rushing touchdown for Alvin Kamara. So he actually took the franchise record of 73 touchdowns. So congratulations to him on being the all-time record holder for the Saints. Mac Jones ended up getting benched late in the game. He had 12 of 22 for 110 yards and 2 interceptions and a fumble. So they've brought in an OC for him to be a bit more acquainted with Billy O'Brien, but it just doesn't seem to be working for him. So it could be, I can't remember the old mate they've got behind him, but might not be Mac starting for very long is what I'm thinking. Carr had an okay day. He did enough for what he had. 18 of 26, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kamara in his comeback game, 22 carries, 80 yards and a touchdown. And Michael Thomas, 4 catches for 65 yards. There's no point talking about the Patriots receiving. They had no more than, I think it was 39 was the highest. Rushing was 24 was the highest. So there was really not much to talk about from the Pats. Besides the fact that they're 10 turnovers, they're tied for the most in their first 5 games since they had 12 way back in 1995. They've done it 3 times since, 2002, 2020, and last year. So, 10 turnovers is a ridiculous amount early. Up next, the Saints at the Texans on Sunday, and the Pats are playing your boys, Carts. So, could be a nice little confidence booster for you.
Beautiful timing for us. We're just starting to get that roll running like we said.
It's a bit of a worry for Mac and the Patriots. I have heard from my sources, which will not be named, that there will be a shake-up somewhat in the offensive, depth chart this week. It's not actually
Bailey Zappi is the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah, it's not actually confirmed whether it's going to be the quarterback position, but there's definitely going to be a little bit of a shake-up. There's talk that, is it going to be the last year for Belichick as being the head coach? Should he just be the GM? There's so much stuff surrounding the Patriots at the moment.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's Max. It's not his first year of struggles, so could be his last.
And some of those interceptions, because I just watched the highlights before we jumped on here. Some of those interceptions, probably didn't need to throw the ball where he did. It was, just not looking tidy at all in the offense.
And do you feel like that's a result of he's feeling the pressure? The offense has been struggling. They're not scoring points. So he's trying to start to force it a little bit. And like you said, probably didn't need to throw it to those certain spots. And he's just, feeling the pressure up here. Do you think that's a bit of the case there?
100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better. But, all right. Danny, you had the 49ers Cowboys.
And I can't wait to talk about this. The 49ers continue their undefeated streak. I'd like to say just like my Birds, but the level of play from the eye test, they don't even compare. The Birds have cruised through where it's just been, okay, they're winning, not very convincingly, not looking good. The 49ers are looking like 100% easily the best team in the league right now, and they need to be spoken about. They absolutely dominated the Cowboys, dropping 42-10. So I think it's one of the biggest deficits that the Cowboys have lost by since 2013. Brock threw for 4 touchdowns, 3 of them going to Kittle, which he had an absolutely impressive game. They did a little fake play as well, which was
flea flicker. Nice.
Flea flicker.
Yeah, the flea flicker. Love that. That was so good. The Cowboys were meant to be probably the 49ers' greatest challenge so far this season, but very quickly the game was looking like a lock for the Niners as they went up 14-0 just to start. The 49ers defense absolutely hounded Dak. He was sacked 3 times. Dak only threw for 12 for 24 with 153 yards, and Dak doing Dak things through 3 interceptions. Purdy goes on to be a 10-0 as a starter. His only loss was obviously in that playoff game where he was injured and barely played. Purdy was nearly mistake-free like he was the week prior. The week prior, he had one incomplete pass. And then this week, he finished with 17 of 24 for 252 yards. And most importantly, he still hasn't even thrown a single interception the whole season. And this is the bloke who was drafted last, like dead last, Mr. Irrelevant. The 49ers have scored on every single opening drive this season. The defense held the Cowboys to just 6 yards in the first quarter. And they didn't get the Cowboys didn't get their first down until about 17 minutes into the game, which is crazy. McCaffrey goes on to score another touchdown for his 14th straight game. Nearly didn't happen, though, after he fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line when he was rushing for a touchdown, and the Cowboys actually recovered that one. But yeah, eventually got the job done. 49ers just looking so dominant. We probably need to start having the conversation for Brock Purdy for MVP because he's not making mistakes. They're winning. They're dominating. He's paying $7.50. Still pretty juicy at this point. Yeah, it's probably about the 5th favorite. Definitely needs to be happening, though, that conversation.
I love those stats from you because I heard something during the week. It was after the game, and they said you have the 49ers record and the way they're playing, if that's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, he's paying $2 for MVP. Like he said, we have to start talking about Purdy being the most valuable player in the league. And
that's the thing, like Mahomes is above it. Mahomes isn't playing well. It's just like he's definitely not playing the way he was towards the end of last season. The thing with the 49ers, they finished last season strong, and now they've come out and they're playing the start of this season so strong. Like, they're a scary team to have.
Well, he's never lost in the regular season.
I think the 49ers themselves are on like a 15-game regular season streak or something like that. So, they're flying at the moment. And you're right. It's just because of who Brock is and his name that he hasn't been in the conversation as much. But I think the scales are starting to tip now that people are taking a lot more notice. He keeps getting it done. He hasn't lost a regular season game yet. And you look at the way that he picked apart that so-called, championship-winning Dallas defense, which a few people pointed out, you look at who they've played, they might have been getting a little bit more like kudos and stuff than probably what they deserved. But it doesn't help that obviously Diggs went down a couple of weeks ago. Like, that leaves a massive hole in that defense. But you still got the likes of Micah Parsons and stuff out there. But the way that the 49ers just toyed with them, and because they've got so many weapons, they've got McCaffrey on the ground and in the air. And then, it was Kittle's day the day before his birthday too, scoring 3 tutties. And I think the day before, was it that National Tight End Day as well? Is he lined that up with his birthday because he started the tight end U?
I wouldn't be surprised.
But anyway, so it was his day. But they've got Debo and all those other guys that Ayuk, some of those passes to Ayuk during the game. It's just how do you defend it? And but
then they've all got all that on the offense. But then the offensive line, phenomenal. And then you look to the defensive side of the ball, and you got Bosa and Hargraves. They're just going to be dominant, and they're going to continue to be dominant.
Who were their linebackers? Greenwall and the broadcast did a good job of highlighting those two. They're you could literally just prime time, just watch these two linebackers go at it. I can't remember who's the other linebacker. Greenlaw and Warner. Yeah, they were just game
Warner is a beast.
Game wreckers all night, and they were awesome to watch. So it was almost it didn't matter if the 49ers had the ball or not. It was awesome to watch them play. And Dallas didn't come out and score as many points. But I think just because of the way that the 49ers won, it was still a really entertaining game to watch. I definitely thought. Just off the bat.
When you got flea flickers and things like that, it's always going to be good.
Yeah. And it was good to see the Cowboys actually go up against a really strong defense and watch them get absolutely picked apart. So,
and same thing, I think, for poor old Dak. Some of those balls that he threw, what was it, 3 interceptions for the night? Some of them, particularly that long ball that he threw, that got intercepted. It's why are you throwing that? Why are you forcing that, dude? The narrative around
You say that he's feeling the pressure, but he does it year in, year out. So
that's
I don't know if he's feeling the pressure. It just seems to be the way that he plays, and
And early on in the season, I was getting around Charlie from work. Shout out Charlie, because he's a big Cowboys fan, and I was like, "I'm like, Cowboys looking good, man. Like, start looking towards the Super Bowl, start booking your ticket." And he laughed. He's like, "We still got Dak. He'll still throw interceptions."
Yeah, so that's
and he knows.
He's just fed into the narrative, hasn't he? Like, he just keeps it going.
Yeah. And one last thing, I remember now. George Kittle. Did you see after I'm pretty sure it was after he scored the Fuck Dallas t-shirt. How good is that?
Apparently that was a throwback to someone in the 80s or something. 80s or 90s or something. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't an original idea, but he definitely ran with it.
Cheeky. Does he get a fine for that? Like it wasn't.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
mate. I think Beckham got a fine for wearing short socks.
Yeah.
So
okay.
He'll get a fine for it, but I think he's going to love every bit of it. But Michael Parsons has come out on his podcast and said, "You know what? You beat us. Good on you. We'll see you again." And
that's the awesome thing. It feeds into the rivalry. So yeah, I'm all about that sort of stuff. It's so good.
I agree.
Plus,
I'm not sure they'll see each other again.
I'm assuming his bonus for scoring 3 touchdowns in one game will outweigh
more than cover it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think.
All right, I think that's all the games we've got for.
Whoa! Prime time Monday night footy. We can't forget about the most important game of the week, baby.
I didn't forget about it. I was moving on.
Before we start, I wouldn't mind hearing a little Go Raiders from the old hostess.
I gave the Go Raiders a
start. No, that was part of the bet. Come on.
Well, I don't know if I've got it in me. Jeez. No, I'll put that on. All right.
Play silly games. You win silly prizes, mate.
Let's go, Raiders. Come on, boys. Get all right. What happened to us?
Let's go.
It's so fun when the Rabbits got the gun.
Obviously, the studio's a little bit different this week. I've got my Raiders t-shirt on up here, and I'm rocking the Any Given Sunday silver and black for me boys.
Which you can get at anygivensunday.dustautomat.com.
Follow the link tree. Limmy, follow the link tree. It's nice and easy.
Yes.
Joshy Jacobs rocking the helmet back there. Yeah, obviously, as you all know, Packers came away 17-13 winners Monday night.
Raiders.
The Raiders. Did I say Packers? Ew.
You did.
I was looking at the Packers. The Raiders have come away. Actually wasn't that really good of a game to watch. I'm not sure if you got to watch it all through, Mac. It wasn't that exciting. Neither team was really able to fire offensively. Like Jimmy was serviceable. He had 208 yards and a touchdown, but he threw an interception. And then Jordan Love, for you boys, 182 yards and 3 interceptions was a bit more of the story for you guys. I talked about, because we previewed this game last week, I talked about the running game might be the difference. Running games didn't really get going either. Joshy Jacobs only went for 69 yards and he did get a touchdown. And on your side, AJ Dillon, a little bit more productive, 76 yards and a touchdown. But I think it was the tale of the defense, and particularly for my boys, the Raiders, Max Crosby, he was a game wrecker all day, just getting pressure on Love. And, you could just tell, Love was aware and, I don't want to say worried, but he was definitely aware and thinking about where Max was lining up and where the pressure was coming from. And then I think off the back of that, able to get the 3 interceptions. So Spillane, he only had 1 interception to date to his career to date before the game. And then he had two interceptions on Monday night. And then the final one, the big heave sort of Hail Mary chuck from Love. And then Amik Robertson, he's 5'9". He was on Christian Watson, I think, who is 6+, maybe 6'2", 6'4", whatever. You see the slow-mos of Robertson jumping up. It's almost like he's floating in the air and just makes a play, sort of catches it just here. And because Watson's hands were there ready for it. And so
if he misses that, we win.
Yeah, all he had to do was bat it away, but he's taken the grab. So, that was pretty awesome. So, I think defensively, it was defensive side of the ball that got it done for us in prime time on Monday night. But, yeah, good to get that little win there for the Raiders. As I alluded to last week, probably a run of maybe what you call softer games coming out, like Patriots next week. And I think you boys have the bye, so you'll be licking your wounds this week. But, yeah, very, very happy to come away with the win there.
And that's the thing with what Max Crosby is doing. He was lining up wherever he felt like it as well,
yeah,
just to get in Love's head and, making sure that a lot of the time he wasn't necessarily coming after Love, but stopping the running game inside, in the trenches nice and early. We just had the most absolute dominating game. And
they were doing their best. They were trying to double team. They were chipping in with tight ends and stuff like that. But he's just I don't know how you describe it, but he just doesn't stop. And he's so persistent. And yeah, just knowing that he's thereabouts, it'll just be, it'll be pretty daunting. being
And Jimmy G was also just doing Jimmy G things as well. Like he plays the game that he knows that he can play. Like he's not going for his long bombs. He's not doing what Derek Carr used to do and trying to always go long for Adams or whatever. He plays his short game. He throws like roughly around 10-yard passes or under every single time, but then just chips away. Just gets the first down.
He was
first down.
22 or 31, I think. Leading up to halftime, he hit. He hadn't missed a throw, but he like you said, he just stays in his lane, does his thing. 22 or 31 for 208. That's more than enough. He got sacked 3 times, so the O-line letting him down a little bit there, but man, just did enough, and we were able to keep you guys scoreless in the last. Again, off the back of good defense, and come away with a good win there.
The only worry, I think, is maybe, do you think that the Garoppolo-Adams connection hasn't quite worked? Because we didn't double team him at all, but he just didn't seem to, especially first 3 quarters.
He only had 4 receptions for, 45 yards. So, a very quiet day for Devontae's standards. But then Jacoby Myers steps up. He has 7 for 75 yards. Michael Mayer, 2 for 39. Joshy Jacobs even in the air, 5 for 20. So, he's finding other targets, but maybe that might be a bit of the case, even though you said he wasn't double teamed, but he takes the best defender or the best safety, and you can start to target these other guys. So if he has to have a bit of a sacrificial game every now and again,
he was also coming off injury as well. Like he wasn't playing at 100%. So if he's not playing at 100%, his shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So he's not going to go. He's not going to get majority of targets if you're playing injured.
I'm certainly not worried. You trying to throw little grenades in there.
Genuine question.
We know what you're doing, mate.
The barb I will throw, though, is I think he's you smartly got the win by a horse collar tackle. We were home and hosed.
Professional foul. You got no
illegal tackle, and we weren't able to.
There was a bit of noise about McDaniels going for taking the field goal for us in the
last.
When was it? Was it in the last?
Yeah, he missed one right on. There was a start of the last.
So Carlson missed 2 throughout the night. So that could have been missed one. It was the brothers Carlson, Andreas or Anders on your side.
Anders,
yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a good win by you boys and
Daniel on your side. Yeah, nice.
But he did cop a bit of flack because I reckon it was only a minute or so to go. It was a 4th and 1. You've got Jacobs who
in
the best, but took the 52-yarder that he hit the uprights.
Yeah, that's right. He hit it. Yeah, the other one got tipped and it swung left. But yeah.
And TMac, who's your DC?
Yeah, Joe Barry. He's copping a bit of flack.
What was he doing at one of his linebackers line up past the end zone for a play that was only 15 yards out?
Yeah.
What was with that?
A touchdown, yeah. I don't know. He's copped a lot of flack, Joe Barry. He did the same thing in the game last year against Detroit. They needed 8 yards, and we all started 10 yards back. Didn't make sense. Anyway, all right. Let's move forward before we do make this an hour-long episode. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed this works.
It's time for questions without notice.
It works? You bloody beauty. It hasn't worked the last few weeks, so I don't know what happened. But I'm glad. I've got a couple of questions for you boys. You kind of touched on both of them. And in the YouTube chat, I saw Megs is here, and she kind of touched on one of these as well. So the first one I have is Brady or Belichick in those years. I think it's kind of swinging the way that Brady was more important. What are your thoughts?
I disagree. I reckon they were symbiotic. Like they both needed each other. So Belichick obviously created an incredible franchise, incredible team, and was very well coached in all of that. But he also needed Brady there to do what Brady did, and which would be the best quarterback of all time at this point. So without one, I don't think the other succeeds, and vice versa.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's better if sometimes we disagree. But I couldn't agree more, Danny Boy. Belichick's putting the pieces around Brady and calling the plays, but then Brady's the one executing. Like they need each other. Like you can't. I don't think put one ahead of the other in terms of that importance.
You don't think the fact that Brady went away, won a Super Bowl, and since Brady's left, the Patriots have kind of been a disappointment, really. They've been a null and void kind of team.
But I feel like that just gives hints to the argument that they needed each other and they were better together. And it just shows, Brady's an absolute superstar, but he had the pieces around him at Tampa.
And he won one. He only won one.
That's right. Unfortunately, Phil doesn't have that Brady quality quarterback. Mac Jones just ain't it.
Yeah, and that's just more of a testament to Brady, if anything, and what Tampa Bay offered him when he went there, being like, we'll create you a Super Bowl winning team, which I did.
Fair enough. Do you see this? You said it in your piece. Do you see this being Belichick's last year as a coach, Danny?
But who makes that decision if he's the GM?
Yeah, he fires himself.
Is he going to fire himself? Would you?
Wow.
Would you as a coach / GM, would you fire yourself? Probably not.
It'll all come down to when he's lost the passion or...
Yeah, and how's it going to look? Is he going to stop doing both? Will he continue coaching and hand on GM, or will he continue jamming and hand on coaching? I don't know. They obviously need to start thinking about that transition out of the Bill Belichick era, but I think he's got another year in him.
I feel like he will want another year because he'll want a winning season to go out on.
Yeah.
Can't finish the way he is.
No.
Get rid of Mac and come in with somebody else. But all right, the second one, are Dallas contenders or pretenders?
At this point, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go pretenders. Only because the teams that they've faced where they've dominated haven't necessarily been great threats. Then they play the biggest threat in all the NFL right now, the 49ers, and get absolutely dominated.
Yeah, I agree. And it's hard. They're in the NFC East with the Eagles, who are winning but haven't really hit their straps yet. I think, like you said, with who they're going to come up against, you got to label them as pretenders. It feels bad saying it. It feels... Yeah.
I don't feel bad. I reckon they are 100% pretenders. Jack keeps throwing these interceptions. And like you said, the teams that they did, dominate early, people thought were going to be good, but they've kind of come out in the wash that they're not. Like the Giants could possibly be the worst team in the league right now, like the way they are, especially from where they were supposed to be to where they are.
I feel like you just haven't gaslighted the both cards tonight into saying that the Cowboys are
100%, like the wording of that.
They're still a very, very good football team, and they're still going to at least be in the wild card spot. I got no doubt about that. They're just not the Super Bowl contending team that everyone thought they were going to be at the start of the season.
Yeah. Well said, Danny boy.
I'm saying they don't make playoffs.
You gaslighting son of a bitch.
Whoa, mark that. How do you bookmark on this thing? Mark clip down here, bang.
I can mark it.
Yeah. So you're saying they're not making playoffs?
Yeah, hang on, I'll just mark the clip. There we go. Yep, I don't think they do not make playoffs. Shoot the bed late.
We'll have to have a little wager. We'll decide what it is off air.
Yeah. No, we will. All right, let's get into this week's Thursday night, Friday morning game for us. Danny, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a lot of this throughout the league, and I just want you, TMac, to explain it to everyone and what it actually means. There was so many flags thrown throughout this whole week for an ineligible player downfield. Can you just explain that for everyone?
So you're only allowed to have so many downfield before the quarterback's throwing the ball.
Past the line of scrimmage, isn't it? So players from the O-line.
So it has to be.
A lot of the time it'll be the center.
Yeah, 1 yard. It's the offensive line, not more or less. You can't be more than 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage. So if you are, I think it came in our game. Our center, his back foot was on the line.
Yeah, so they picked up the flag
they picked up the flag, which was good. A great little review. They quickly expedited it and moved.
And it was quick, and that's how it should work. Yeah.
But yeah, you can't be beyond the 1 yard line before he throws it. Makes sense.
And quickly, before we get into the preview, because we are running out of time, just the lock of the week last week. Danny and myself, we went down. Danny had the Bills, I had the Ravens, so we didn't score a point. T-Mac had Miami, and Charlie took the Lions. So you both scored a point there, and we'll put our locks of the week in our preview app, and we'll give you an update of the scores there.
Perfect little update. All right, so this Thursday night, Friday morning game is, I've already forgotten, it's not on my screen.
Chiefs Broncos.
Broncos at the Chiefs, which is important to note. It's at the Chiefs because I think the Broncos are slightly better at home than away. Is this a game that is a little bit of a danger game for the Chiefs? I think the early line is like 10.5. Like we said, the Chiefs starting to get their shit together and slightly.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't reckon they've hit their stride. It was another controversial non-call to save him in the game against the Vikings. There was a flag originally thrown for pass interference. I can't remember who Kirk was throwing to, but they're in the end zone. It would have been a touchdown, but there was a flag thrown for pass interference. Then it was overruled because it was decided that the ref had decided that the ball had been tipped, but the ball was never tipped. So, well, at least it didn't look like it to me, and definitely didn't look like it in the replay.
It was hard to tell from the angle they showed quickly.
Yeah, which would have given the Vikings field position of 1st and goal, and potentially scored it either, take the game to overtime, or they could have done a 2-point conversion, potentially won. So up against a Vikings team that's 1-4, they almost.
But also, there was no penalty for taking off the helmet, which is a straight up 15-yard penalty.
Exactly. So there was 2 things that should have been, major penalties. I'm not going to say it's scripted.
A lot of the conspiracy theorists are coming out saying they're looking up
just listening to
because of the Taylor Swift.
Just quickly look up into the box where she is. You should take your helmet off. Everyone's like, "Oh, put it back on. She's not there."
People are fucked.
But yeah, on that, obviously the NFL.
Is it a danger game? Do you think? Because the Broncos have been bad.
Absolutely not. The Chiefs are going to boat race them, mate. The Broncos are terrible.
Yeah, so the Broncos have the worst defense in the league. You're going up against a Mahomes-led offense. Whether Kelsey plays or not, I honestly don't think he will, because what's the point? You're playing the Broncos. I think you'll be fine. But Mahomes absolutely owns the Broncos as well. He's 11-0 in his career against them. But then the Chiefs on their own, let's put pre-Mahomes, they're 15-0. So there's no chance. There's literally like a 0.5% chance the Broncos are going to come up. Yeah, the line's at 10.5, but the Chiefs always take the foot off the gas when they get a 2-score lead. So I think the 10.5 line is probably smart by the bookies, knowing that the Chiefs, they're not going to risk injury to anyone by trying to put 40, 50 points on them.
Well, and they win a lot, but they don't always cover on the line. The Chiefs, I think they're notorious for that, especially in the first half of the season before they're up and running. But like you said, Broncos have got the worst defense in the league. They're 32nd for points.
32. I'm just looking at that now. 32nd defense.
36.2 points they're averaging, giving up a game. So
yeah. So on that, the Commanders.
Chiefs offense. Good luck.
The Commanders, the Jets, and the Dolphins did it in each half, so you can take that as well. All dropped 30 points on the Broncos. The Jets.
Yep.
I love that the Dolphins did it in each half.
Well, they're on that next tier. So
yeah, so Dolphins elite offense, but you look at the Jets and the Commanders. Jets especially, they're a defensive team. They can do all right in offense, but it's not their bread and butter. So if they can drop 30 points on them, the Chiefs, easy.
The Chiefs have the 11th best defense. Can Russ turn it around against them?
Nope.
I'm trying to find something for him. You're giving me nothing.
I'll
finish off by saying the Chiefs won 27-24 last time they played them. That's just going back to that. They keep it close, but always get the job done.
Yeah. I know we said we're going to do it later in the week, but this is my bang lock of the week. Give me the Chiefs.
Oh, you cheeky boy.
With or without Kelsey, give it to me.
Good steal.
All right. Fair enough. Are you allowing that?
Yeah, we'll allow it. So we'll write down.
The boss says yes.
Chiefs.
Yes. All right, boys. That is done and dusted, I reckon. We are going to have a second episode out. Beautiful. We possibly could be Friday night. It'll be confirmed, obviously, later on during the week. Could be a Friday night, sipping on a few light ones, seeing that the Broncos have actually turned it around and beat the Chiefs, and Danny's lock of the week has gone down. You never know. We'll see what happens. But as Danny said earlier, also, make sure you head to our merch store, anygivensunday.automat. DustAutomat.com. Get your team, get the other teams. Doesn't matter. We actually had a few orders this week for people who I know who they barrack for, and they were buying opposition teams. So
this is good quality shit.
It is. Yeah, we'll see you on Friday.
See you then, fam. Go the Raiders. Say it again, Macca.
Go the Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, Packers.